probably already know that we are from the United States, but right now we don't live there. And today we want to talk to you about some of the things that we don't miss about living in the United States. That's coming up. Welcome to today's lesson, which is a little bit of it's a cultural lesson, I guess, because we're going to tell you some of the things that we don't miss about living in the United States. And we're not really trying to hate on the U.S. at all. When anybody's traveling or living abroad, there are things people miss and there's things people don't miss. So we want to tell you some of the things that we don't miss.
So just our experience with...
our opinions.
Yeah.
One thing that I don't miss, which has been a lot in the news recently, I think in the U.S. it's pretty much always in the news, is I do not miss guns. I don't want to get into the whole whether, you should have a gun or you shouldn't have a gun. It's really... Gosh, it's become, I think, embedded in American culture at this point. Say hello to my little friend!
Go ahead. Make my day.
I think one of the issues is, for me, what I don't like is there's just way too many guns, and they're pretty much too easy to get. And one thing that I wanted to share is that I'll go see my family that lives in the state of Florida, and maybe I'll be in the grocery store. And there's about 50 people in there. And Florida has a gun law where you can get a permit to carry a gun and put it in your pocket, your bag, or whatever. And sometimes I'll just look around and see all these people and think, there's probably about 20 guns in this building right now. And it makes me feel uneasy. It doesn't make me feel safer at all. And that's one thing that I don't miss is just like out in public, looking around and thinking like, gosh, I wonder how many guns are around here right now.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah, I don't miss the guns.
Okay, the second thing we don't miss, and this is really true for me, I don't miss the people sometimes get carried away, I think, in the US with work, make money. Yeah. And it's kind of that cycle of overwork, people who are overworked and people who are just really it's like they live to work. They don't work to live.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
good way of putting it, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a little much sometimes, and people, because, you're looking at your neighbors and they have a new car and they have a new phone and they have new huge TV, and that becomes a little bit of an obsession for some people.
The expression in English is the rat race. Mm-hmm. Everybody gets caught up in the rat race, and you need to work, go, money.
It can get too much. For me, it's not where the focus should be in life.
Yeah. And
I don't miss that about the culture.
We're English teachers. We're definitely not in it for the money.
Obviously.
Yeah. This is a good one. This is something I definitely don't miss. I think most Americans probably would agree with me once they leave the U.S. or get outside is tipping, because that is another thing. America is a tipping culture where you tip restaurants, bars, hairdressers, taxis,
everything.
I just got a $20 tip on a $10 check. You're supposed to leave a tip.
I live on tips.
Make sure you tip the nice lady.
A lot of people work in the service industry. I did as well when I was in the U.S. I always tried to tip well, because after working in the industry, you want to help support those people.
Well, we tip in the U.S. because people only make $1 or $2 an hour.
They don't make the same amount of money.
Yeah, so
they don't make as good of a wage. So.
If they didn't get tips,
So if you're not from the U.S. and you do travel there, you should tip. Keep that in mind.
I don't want to be a jerk.
I think it's true.
So there's a stereotype about Americans when they travel abroad that you can recognize them really easily because they're really loud and obnoxious. That can be true.
I tend to think...
I don't miss that.
I think when you put people from any country in a group together, people are loud and obnoxious.
Americans are very extroverted and social, I think, and I think that sometimes comes out, and it's a little much for someone like me.
People that are obnoxious, they tend to let you know.
Kind of cocky and show off.
I remember
part of it.
After living abroad, I went back and I was visiting my parents. I was going out I'd go out for a run every day, and within a week, just out there running on the street, I had 2 different cars drive by and people yelling stuff at me that I was And it was random, like trash talking.
How dare you improve your health?
No, it's just like people just like wanting to talk trash. Especially after coming back from living abroad, I was immediately felt like, America.
People can be annoying.
So I was pissed off. Like, I was just trying to run. So this kind of, I guess it ties in a little bit with the tipping, not so much, but also I'm not an alcoholic, but the cost of...
I like how you premise that.
Well, yeah, the cost of alcohol is really, I think it's pretty high. In the U.S., if you go out somewhere and you want to buy a beer or a glass of wine at a restaurant, living abroad, we've been in Europe for a while now, and like wine is so cheap. It's just an added expense in the U.S. that you just got to prepare that you're going to spend a little more money for a beer, wine, a cocktail.
Yeah, well, it's $9 beer night.
Yeah, it's tough traveling back there and going out to get a drink. It's like,
having to pay all of this.
This is how much that we're spending.
So another thing I don't miss about the U.S., we don't miss, I think in general, is the healthcare system. For a few different reasons. Even though they have like really great technology and everything, it's really hard if you don't spend a lot of money to get good healthcare.
It's not accessible to everybody.
No, it's not. Yeah. And it's very frustrating, I think, for most people.
It's basically, it's a for-profit industry. We worked with a lot of international students, and students coming to the U.S., one of the requirements was that they had to have health insurance. And trying to explain the system to people that are not from the United States is really, they look at you just like, what is going on here? It costs this much? It's like, no, insurance will pay for it. It's okay.
But check that it's covered by your healthcare provider!
Yeah, we had students who thought like they're part of a scam. They're like, are you sure that this is how much I need to pay? Like, why am I giving all this money?
We had a student that got into a motorcycle accident. He was okay, but was in the hospital for 2 days, broke their arm. It was like $87,000. And this went on for, I don't know how many times I was on the phone with Blue Cross Blue Shield, but it went on for months and months and months. And finally, the insurance company negotiated and the cost was down, and he didn't have to pay for it, but it was just such a pain in the ass. Another thing which we don't miss, and I think most Americans would agree with this as well, is public transportation, because even big cities, very few big cities have good public transportation, and it sucks because it's so hard to get around, and because of that, you have to have a car. New York City is one of the few places that has good public transportation, metro system. What is it?
I just come off as such a hater, I think, in these videos. It's American desserts, so...
That's not a big...
It's not a big, but I just come off as a hater. So first of all, I think American desserts are horrible. That's what I don't miss.
Tell us how do you really feel about it?
But the sweets in general, I'm not a huge fan of the desserts. They're too sweet. I think maybe Americans have like...
We like a lot of sugar.
Tell me if this needs more sugar.
The birthday cakes and cupcakes and all of that, I'm not a huge fan. Too much sugar.
I'm not a big dessert person, so it doesn't really bother me.
I don't like it.
I don't think the U.S. is known as a dessert country or
it's not good.
A dessert place. I guess, yeah.
Besides cheesecake. I love cheesecake. Cheesecake is the best, awesome. And I guess pies are good too. Key lime pie. Key lime pie is good. Key lime pie.
Yeah. Oh, so you do like the desserts.
Like two desserts that I like.
I think a lot of people in the United States feel the same way as we do right now, and we don't miss being a part of that. It's more of something that's going on now, and that's the political climate and the politics in the United States, and it's really, really divided and brings out the worst, I think, in people right now. And there are legitimate reasons for that. Just the divisiveness and the way you can't really have conversations anymore about it. So it's definitely something we don't miss.
So, okay, this is my perspective, and it might be different than somebody who's born and raised in the U.S., but since I wasn't, I can talk about it.
What?
Nationalism.
Greatest country in the world.
No, so that's...
Number one.
I have a problem with nationalism. I think it's too much.
Let's start that chant. USA.
No.
USA.
No. Meaning that I think a lot of people are obsessed with the US. They think it's the best country. They think it's the greatest. And they think other people in the world...
That's what they tell us.
Okay.
It was on a cereal box. In fairness to America right now, I feel like there is more, I think, definitely more nationalism right now, which ties into the whole political stuff. But I think that's also happening around the world in different places to some extent. I don't think it's necessarily a good thing, but I think many countries are going through this whole pro our country and against everybody else. And obviously, since we are living in another country, we don't tend to be in favor of nationalism. We want people to be more inclusive.
Yeah.
We are the world. We are the children.
And more welcoming, because we're not in the U.S. right now, and we don't want people to yell stuff at us as we're out running.
We believe in you, America. You can do better.
USA.
Okay.
USA.
Okay, so now we want to hear from you guys. So please, in the comments, it's time to dish and tell us what are some things you don't like about your country. Come on, we know there's something. Yeah, you don't miss, or maybe you don't like or love.
About your country?
It's okay. This is a safe space.
With us.
Yeah. Please keep in mind that we didn't want to offend anyone.
This is just our thoughts and opinions.
Yeah, it's just our experience.
We hope you can appreciate us sharing with you guys about our, the American culture and our thoughts and opinions about the United States.
Yeah.
And if you did enjoy this lesson, please hit that like button, give us a thumbs up, and as always, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye. USA. Give it a try. USA. It feels good. USA.